Right, I believe the stream should be up now. It is. Fantastic audio is coming through nicely as well. Getting all my stuff set up. I've just come off the back of a race, so we are straight into comms mode. I'll run and get a drink of water before we get started. Right, lovely, let's get started. I think the mic should be picking me up okay. So the mic testing. What's the onboard like? Absolutely fine, perfect. Lovely. Well, everybody, welcome to the Twitch. Welcome to UFRL racing here in Mexico for the opening season, or the opening round for season 10. Very, very exciting track and very unique track to have as a season opener, homing one of the longest straights in the F1 calendar. However, what makes it unique, of course, is the high wings, or the slightly higher wings that we might see this evening, despite having that long straight, because of the twisty corners, especially in the second sector, where it can get really tight for racing as well, as I believe it's going to be, I'm going to have to try and pronounce the names now. This is my opportunity now in qualifying to look through the names and make sure I'm pronouncing them right. But we're going to call him, I'm assuming it's F. Morg Massey. Morg Massey is fine. So he's going to be beginning the qualifying here with the long run down towards turn 1 in the Aston Martin. Behind him will be his teammate, I believe, who will be the second man to set a lap, Kingy. Quite a difficult track it can be, I think, in validation. Certainly at turn 3 we might see is they're going to try and extend all the way to the edge of the track, but he has slowed down. Go battery on for the second DRS straight. 3 DRS straights around this track. The long run towards turn 1, then towards turn 4. We will see wheel to wheels as they are connected DRS straights. And of course, on the exit of the S corners, on the exit of turn 11, on the run down towards the tight turn 12, which enters into the incredible stadium section. Certainly one of my favourite places to race in the recent formulas. I've grown a love to Mexico in the last few F1 games. It's not one of the most popular ones, but I do enjoy it. As we see, watching Kingy weave his way through the fast S corners. You can see he's catching up to his teammate, who I believe has backed off from his lap. So it will be Kingy who starts this qualifying away, sporting the bright orange helmet inside the Aston Martin as he weaves his way through the very tight and quite tricky stadium section. On the exit, round he goes through turn 17, gently puts the power on, battery on as well. What will the opening lap be? And it's going to be a 118.1, and that is going to set us away for qualifying. Because heading through the middle sector right now is Jar Jar Bing. Going through some of my favourite corners. Really, really tight going through the double right-hander there. It is technically counted as only one corner, but I believe I felt like it used to be two. Over the S as he goes, over the bumps. You can be quite confident. You can use the curbs around here. As Battery on again, over the curbs he goes through turn 11. Battery on through the third and final DRS straight. He's got a purple middle sector on my screen. I don't know how correct that is. With a 57.1 through the middle sector. Into the stadium section he goes. Using that gear 2, using the stability of the car there and the higher wings, like I said, as the pole lap is beaten there by F1 Viva, who goes with a 17.3, a massive improvement on pole. Jar Jar being beaten again with a 16.7, and the lap times are shooting down from what we saw Kingy do earlier in the session. We've got the Sauber of Moody heading through the middle sector now as well. A lot less battery than we've seen of the other cars through this section of track. He's used a lot in the earlier stages, and there's the first invalidation we've watched on screen, and it's going through turn 11 as Woody beats the provisional pole. He's up into the 15s, a 15.8, and there's big gaps between the four drivers who have set lap times so far in this session. But it is Moody who catches the first invalidation on screen for us. It proves the difficulty of this track when you're extending the limits, when you're pushing right to the edge of the limits. You want to use every inch of the track available. As we're watching Free Range Eggs. I do like that name. That's one of my favourite names, as I believe that was Destroyed Drac goes third fastest. I'm going to call him Free Range because I feel like that's a bit easier. Free Range through the twisty final sector, using a lot more curb through the stadium section than we've seen from a lot of the other drivers, as Iron Shin goes 6th fastest with a 17.7. Here comes Free Range, crosses the line, and he goes 5th fastest with a 17.1. And he slots himself nicely in the middle of the group of those who have set lap time so far. And according to my knowledge, this is the reigning champion, UFRL William, in the Sauber. We're going to watch his lap time. As there's a long run towards turn 1, opening the corner up over the outside curb, touches the inside, and you can see going well wide to open up the corner, turn 2 and 3, using the curb on the exit of turn 3. Battery on just for a second there, and DRS open again to get all that speed and the run towards turn 4. Very tight, heavy braking for turn 4, and you've got to, once again, you'll see him opening up the corner for turn 5. Beautifully done. Trying to get as much, using every inch of the track he can, using right to the extent of the corners. There is turn 6, power back on. As he runs towards the S corners, the first is flat. You can use it. He's avoided it a little bit there over the curb of the next S's. Through he weaves. He just cut over the curves. Battery back on. 40% left in the storage as he runs towards turn 12. Very crucial corner. Very tight. How close to the raised orange curb will he get? Not too close. He has missed the apex slightly there. I think that's time to find. Very wide around the stadium section corner of turn 13. And through the final braking points, turn 16, gently on the power, battery on, hugging that inside line. Where will this lap time put him in? It only is P5 for the reigning champion with a 16.8. And I think he'll feel there is time left in that lap. Epic Frenchie in the Alpine. 30% left in the battery, currently on the run towards turn 12. Touches that inside curb, very close to extending limits there on the exit at turn 12. Great control of the Alpine driver. Using gear 2. You can see the bollard there, actually. The bollard at turn 14 has been taken up by somebody. Battery on and gently on the power for Epic Frenchie, who crosses the line in the Alpine. Goes second fastest. And it's an Alpine 1-2 as it stands. 10 minutes left of the session to go. And that is fantastic for the team in blue. The team from Enstone, I'm sure, will be very pleased in their qualifying positions as so far. Boy Knockout with the DRS open for the second time of his fast lap as he runs towards turn 4, opening the corner up. And according to my screen, a purple first sector, but we can't really trust that when it's their first run. Using all the extent of the track and very close to validating again. You can see, even on his first lap, finding real confidence in the car as he runs towards the S's turn 7. Flick the car in, be brave on the steering. And he has his runs over the curve for 1, 2, and 3, and 4 S's. 30% left of the battery. And it is on. DRS open for the Ferrari. The first Ferrari who will set a lap. 57.0 on the middle sector split. Not too bad whatsoever. Touches the inside curb of turn 12. A little bit squirrely of the car going through the corner, but he's held it quite well. Through the stadium section he goes. A little bit squirrely again as he runs through turn 16. Gently puts the power on. Battery on again. Where can the Ferrari go? As he crosses the line, goes P2. And not a bad lap whatsoever for Boy Knockout. But still a massive margin. URFL Woody, fantastic lap with a 15.8. And he is a good margin ahead of the rest of the pack. and it'll take a really special lap for someone to challenge the Alpine who sat comfortably up at the front. Will it be Salty Stevens, the other Ferrari, who is preparing for his first hot lap as he goes through the twisty final sector to prepare his lap? We'll catch up with him later as he finishes his lap. What I'm curious in is him, the current reigning champion, William, and he might be a man who has the pace to challenge up at the front as he weaves his way through the middle sector. Battery back on again. He's got more battery this time on the run towards turn 12 than he did last lap, but he's 2/10 down on his lap time. So not an improvement for the Sauber, who goes wide at turn 12. No invalidation, fortunately. I think he made a slight lift there, but I can't imagine we'll see an improvement unless he finds something incredible in this final sector. But we might see him pit, and we do. We see him cut through and touches the bollard, and the bollard is thrown across the track, and I imagine that's a bit of a safety hazard there. But as we see Jar Jar Bing on his second lap, he's found 3/10 in that first sector. Fantastic from the Williams driver. Potentially a man to challenge that front row, and that incredible pole position we've seen so far. As we see Boynoka enter the pits. I'm still waiting on Salty Stevens, who's heading through the middle sector. Only a few yards ahead of Jar Jar Bing, and the Williams is behind, who I believe is not on a push lap. We'll catch up with the Ferrari, and then we'll run back to the Williams, who found an improvement. As a 57.8, I believe that was. Or 56.8. That's a great second sector split. This could be a great lap from the Ferrari as Tesco Mildo as well. Really impressive names here in this league. The McLaren goes P2. Where will Stevens go? As he hugs the inside, can the Ferrari challenge the front? And he can. He goes P2. Where will the Williams go? Jar Jar Bing, who found some big improvement in this lap, goes P2, takes it from the Ferrari, who had it only momentarily, and so marginally off that 15 split. So what a great lap from the Williams, and it looks like the pressure's on for Alpine, who were originally running 1 and 2, and it looks like the pressure is on now as Ferrari, McLaren and Williams looking to react to it very, very quickly in the qualifying session. 7 minutes to go. As F1 Viva, who finds, I believe, 2/10 in this lap. Can he cross the line? Takes the flag, and he is 12th place as it stands for the Mercedes. So he'll be looking to find a bit of an improvement. Moody and Bakey still yet to set laps around the track, so I imagine invalidations or mistakes for them. So the pressure is on, of course, for their final runs. His driver's still coming out the pits now, actually. Some early final runs. So free range coming out for his outlap with 6 minutes to go. So early choice there. As well as William, the reigning champion, opting to go for an early final run. Potentially 2 outlaps to burn the fuel down. As well as the Epic Frenchie, he's up in 6th place. He's looking to push now. He was P2. He has then been toppled down by 4 other drivers. In the last few minutes of qualifying, he's looking to take back that challenge. And he's got 6/10 to find. There's a big gap between that front group. On the run towards turn 1. Heavy braking down towards 4th gear, down to 3rd. Touches the apex. Again, a little bit too much apex. You can see him bumping over the suspension, creasing as he hits turn 2. We'll see he's coming up to the first sector split, and we'll see if he's found an improvement, and he absolutely has. Nearly 3/10 in that first sector. What a fantastic amount of time he's found. Close to the exit there of heading towards turn 6. All about the exit here, because you get a big run. If you think about it, on the exit at turn 6, which you've just seen him do, obviously there's S's coming up, but there's not the next actual full braking points all the way at turn 12. So it's so crucial you get a good exit out at turn 7. Battery on and DRS open for the Alpine, currently sitting 2nd compared to his teammate. He's found 5/10 in this lap, and this could be a lap that puts him P2, could be a lap that challenges his teammate if he can find something special. Just 1 more 10th in the stadium section, as he runs a little bit wide, using all the curb. 33% left on the battery. Early rotation there, a little bit squirrely. Battery on for the Alpine, who crosses the line, and he does break into the 15s, but not quite as quick as his teammate. It's once again an Alpine 1-2 in this session, as I believe Woody is starting his lap just behind, and he might get a little bit of a tow down one of the streets by his teammate, who's just completed a lap. There's Destroyer Drac, who's improved up to P5. As a solid lap, if he can get back to the pits and set a final one, that'll be really beneficial for McLaren, who is set now 5 and 6. William, who's been knocked down to P10. I can't imagine he'll be too pleased. He's a 2nd off the pace right now. And he'll need something big in this lap. And I don't know if he'll be able to definitely fit in a final run. So this might be it. And he covers the split. He's 2/10 up. That's not a massive advantage, actually. He might be able to jump up to P7 if he can find something big in this final sector. But it may be P8 here for the Sauber. Through turn 16 he goes, gently on the power. And the remaining battery left in the tank as he crosses the line. And it is only P8 for William. He did nearly grab P7. He had a good final sector, but not quite good enough. Only 200ths down is his teammate Moody, who has yet to set a lap. Ooh, it didn't look too confident there through turn 8. I think there's definitely struggles going on in both ends of the Sauber garage, potentially. As 57.0 with the second sector split. That's not too bad. That could potentially put him in the top 10. Maybe breaking into the top 6. If he can find something good in this final sector, as Woody is disqualified for blocking the pit lane. What on earth has happened there? And it looks like Alpine sat in the middle of the track. And Moody's had to avoid it. He's invalidated his lap anyway, so it's not too bad. But the man who was massive advantage on pole, I believe he's blocked his teammate in the pits. So what on earth is going on at the Alpine garage? He's blocked his teammate in the pits, and he's disqualified from qualifying. He's going to have to start down in P18, but he was comfortably sat in P1. So massive, massive disadvantage there for Alpine. And a really big lapse of judgment there, potentially. As Shazam looks like he's staying in the pits. He'll be starting from P17 as it stands if he chooses not to come out the pits. Moody as well needs to recharge to go for another run. Bakey Gaming, another driver who's yet to set a lap. He will be setting his first, which will also be his last. The pressure is on to match his teammate, who is not on the grid. No VCARB teammate. So pressure is really on for VCARB. Only one driver on the grid, and they're down in P16. As Boy Knockout we're watching going through turn 7, there's an Aston Martin up ahead who hopefully won't block him. Looking brave through the middle sector, touching the inside curbs as much as he can. He's got 40% left on the battery. Burning starts early. I think he's done it quite nicely. The Aston Martin better get out of the way, unless they want to push lap as well, in which case he's going to catch him on his lap. He's going to be getting all the effects of dirty air, and he's avoided at turn 12. A little bit of a risky place to avoid there by the Aston Martin. He could have done it in a safer place. But heading towards turn 16, it goes Boy Knockout. In his final run, it looked like a strong one. Here comes the Ferrari. Can he match his teammate? Can he go even faster? Crosses the line, goes P1 with a 15.7, and that would have beaten the Alpine's lap, who got disqualified only just previously in qualifying. What a lap by Boy Knockout. And that has put Ferrari, I'm sure, in a very good spot. That's exactly what they needed. Baking is heading through as well now, as I believe that was an improvement there by, I think it might have been a McLaren. Who is next to hit the line? I believe it might be a Mercedes who's beginning his lap. And then I believe behind it is a Williams, who is also beginning his lap. So who's the next person to set a lap? And it might be Bakey. I was on the right person. So Bakey, who is yet to set a lap. I lie. So there is another VCARB. I'm blind. There's another VCARB on track. P11 for Iron Shin, who is on a push lap now, heading towards turn 3. But Bakey Gaming, who was only given a one-shot qualifying after mistakes on his previous runs. Here he comes towards turn 16. Battery on very, very early, and he's brave on the traction. Here comes Bakey Gaming. Where can he go? And it is P11, quicker than his teammate. Just about, not quite, just missing out on the top half of the grid. It looks like the Aston Martins are coming through now. Kingy, he was one of the first drivers to set laps. As we're watching a Haas cross the line, I believe that's Shazam to begin his lap. Morg Massey goes P6. Where can his teammate go? Bumped over the curb there at turn 15. Where can Kingy go? On his final run of qualifying, goes P9, and it is a big improvement for the Aston Martins, who stay where they are at P6 and P9 as Salty Stevens begins his lap. There's Destroyer dragged behind, who begins his lap as well. Here comes Tesco Meal Deals, who will also be beginning his lap. The final run's coming in very, very hot right now. As you see Ferrari head back into the pits, and I believe it's Iron Shin, who I think is re-going. So he must have made a mistake on his first run. He's going again, and he's got the battery to do so. There's a Mercedes coming across the line. And that was Hybrid, who can't improve his position. Does improve his time, though, just by a tenth. But stays in P10, only just marginally losing out to Kingy's lap time. And that is qualifying over for William, who stays in P8. And that's not great from the champion, who maybe expected more. Bakey is down on his time, as we saw him just set it. And he'll come back into the pits, I presume. Oh, this is Moody in the grass, and he'll start at only best at P16. Viva has made a mistake as well. We're going to look up to the front. Who is next to set a lap time? It's going to be Salty Stevens, I believe. Where's Jar Jar Bing? He's behind. So we're going to watch the boys up at the front. Morg Massey, who's found a marginal improvement. Can he find it? Can he get a position off this? Here comes the Aston Martin, who crosses the line, and he can't find an improvement. Just misses out. It's going to be Salty Stevens to try and beat his teammates' lap time. Very wide, going through turn 14 there. Battery on. Can he match his teammate? Hugs the inside line, uses the curb, crosses the line, stays P4. Here comes Destroyer Drac, who takes that P4, and it's a 16.0. Fantastic lap time. Here comes Tesco Mildew, who can't improve his lap. No, neither can Kingy. Can Hybrid is the question. He's got lots of battery. I imagine he's not on a lap. But there he is, going through the traffic, cutting through the traffic, and it looks like he's got a bit, maybe a bit of dirty air there. Is Free Range Eggs currently sat in P11 as he goes through turn 16. A little bit squirmily on the exit, but can he find an improvement to break into the top 10? Here comes the Red Bull, and he can't, but he does find the improvement on his lap. Into the pits comes Iron Chin, and I believe that will be your qualifying order. Boy Knockout with an unbelievable lap, 15.7, and he's on pole by nearly 0.2 of a second. Jar Jar Bing makes it P2. No Alpine, despite dominating the early stages of qualifying, will find themselves on the front row. They've got to settle for P3, and with the disqualification P18, and it's going to be a big job for Woody to cut through the order. He's got a lot of overtakes, 17 in fact, to find his way back up to the front of the grid. Destroyer Jack makes it P4, so strong showing for McLaren and for of course for Ferrari as well. Aston Martin not too far off, and maybe disappointment there for UFRL, I should say. William, the champion, not in the position he probably wanted. So there is your grid for the Mexican Grand Prix to open Season 10 off for Division 2. Boy Knockout starts on pole position with Jar Jar Bing in P2. Epic Frenchie and Destroyer Drac will hold the second row of the grid. Salty Stevens, so Ferrari with the best aggregate position in P5 with Morg Massey beside him. We've got Tesco Mealdills, very creative name. And P7 for him, followed by the champ William. Kingy and Hybrid round off the top 10. We've got big name at the back, though, with Woody, who we're going to be interesting to see how quickly he can cut through the order. The Scotsman disqualified in the pit lane for blocking his teammate on entry. It's going to be very interesting how this race pans out. Well, I'm not too sure if there's a specific time when the drivers need to ready up or they just ready up straight away. So we'll see what we've got to work with. In terms of the track, I'm not actually too familiar with the strategy. I know that the one-stop is very popular for more confident drivers who are outside of dirty air. And even clean air, I think that the one-stop can work on the majority of tracks. That's what I see specifically in esports quite often. However, the two-stop is a lot more safe. It means you've got to be a lot more aggressive. You've got to be confident on your pace and confident in the overtaking because you've got no time to lose. You've got to catch up with the guys who are trying to save their tyres with the one-stop. I imagine we'll see a bit of mix of both. I think it's what we often see in league races. 5-minute break. Fantastic. So we've got time. So I think we'll see a good mix of both. Often we'll see hard, medium, hard for the drivers who are looking to make that one-stop work out. But for the majority of tracks in this game, you need to really be out of dirty air. So two things: either confident in the overtaking and leading the DRS train, or leaving a gap and being confident in sitting 8, 9 tenths out of the dirty air of the driver ahead without dropping out of DRS, which is kind of my preferred strategy. Obviously, the alternative, like I said, two-stop. We might see drivers, I believe around here it's 2 mediums and a soft, as opposed to 2 mediums and a hard, which is a lot more aggressive. You've got to be a lot more confident in overtaking. There's a lot of overtaking points in this track. We've got turn 1, of course, the long run towards turn 1. We've got the next DRS straight going towards turn 4, which I imagine we'll see a lot of wheel-to-wheels going through towards turn 6. And then, of course, potentially, if you're confident, going towards turn 12 on the exit of the S's, but you've got to get a good run out of those twisty corners in order to make that move. So I'm very excited to see which one works out. Like I said earlier, Mexico, quite a unique opener for a season. You don't often see a Mexico coming so early in a calendar. But but I'm absolutely not opposed. I fall in love almost with this track in the recent F1 games. I used to hate it, and it's now one of my favourites. Great for wheel-to-wheel racing in the middle sector. If you're confident, if you're safe, if you're able to give your driver beside you a good amount of room and being fair, not pushing them onto the grass, because it is easier to do so. And of course, the obvious one, which is track limits. We've got a couple of places where it can be a bit of a pressure for drivers to go over that white line. Turn 3, of course, extending as the tyres begin to degrade. Understeer starting to slide as the front end loses. As well, potentially going through the exit at turn 5, heading towards the twisty section. So certainly if you're going wheel to wheel with someone as well, so we might see some pen removals if drivers are pushed over the limits unintentionally. Of course, through the S's where you're right on the curb, you've got to be quite confident there. And the exit at turn 12, where we saw a couple of invalidations in qualifying going through turn 12 as well. It's all going to come down to who manages their tyres better, because the understeer from those front tyres, the second you lose the front axle, and I think warnings will start to come, understeer will show itself. And the track will just become very much more difficult. But yes, 5 minutes on the clock. We've got a good amount of time left for the drivers to prepare their strategies, prepare their fuel. Someone who just jumped out of a league race who had to fuel save for the last 7-8 laps. It's not that fun. This is one of the tracks where it is easier to fuel save. A lot of heavy braking points, but nevertheless, you don't really want to be doing it. Certainly these drivers will be trying to avoid it, I imagine. But yes, I want to hear from the chat. Chat, who do we think is who's a favourite to win? Teach me about the UFRL knowledge. Who is the favourite this evening to take home the Golden Crown and win? While we wait. So look, so we can get an idea of strategies based on this. So a lot of mediums. We've got the hard runners for the drivers, maybe starting a little bit lower. So Iron Shinopsing for the hards. So is F1 Viva, so is Moody. They're potentially going longer on that first stint. And that may bring them back into contention if they're able to extend that first stint, not get held up in the pits, and try and overcut the guys ahead. I think that's a very viable strategy, certainly in this game. Here we go, lights ahead of the drivers here in UFRL. The opening round here in Mexico. It's going to be a Ferrari on pole, Williams beside him. The lights are out. We are racing here in Mexico. Great start by the pole sitter. I think good start by Jar Jar Bing, who looked to cut over from P3. Here comes the Alpine looking down the inside. It's Epic Frenchie who got the slipstream. Now going to be 3 abreast going towards turn 1. Who's going to be later on the brakes? Who's going to be braver on the brakes? And I believe it's going to be the Williams. Down the inside they go. Bit of wheel banging going through his turn 1. Into turn 2. The Ferrari's got the inside line bumping over the curb. Goes Boyd knockout. But he did get the extra speed he needed. There's Salty Stevens going around the outside as well, who's managed to get the Alpine. Is he chasing down the Williams? If he can get a good enough run going towards turn 4. Here comes Jar Jar Bing, not brave enough on the brakes, but Salty Stevens is. Down the inside he goes. On Epic Frenchie made the position. It's a Ferrari 1-3, followed by Epic Frenchie. There's an Aston Martin behind who's just forced his way through Destroyer Track. Oh my goodness, and there is Epic Frenchie. Trying to get down the inside of turn 7, couldn't quite get a full front wing ahead. And a great start from our pole sitter who stays where he is. I'll get the information out on screen. And Boy Knockout leads us away and beginning to build a gap without that dirty air. He's able to do so as Epic Frenchie picking up a really early 3-second penalty. And that's going to hurt him at the end of this race. F. Morg Massey as well, who's extending track limits down on the outside. There's another McLaren at the back as well. I believe that was Tesco who struggling with track limits into the slow moving S section. And then, there's Morg Massey, who I believe he might have spun and reset the track there. What's happened there? And what a great start up to P5. And it's gone horribly wrong. He's had to reset the track. And is he coming into the pits? No, he's not. He is continuing on. But really unfortunate glitch there by the Aston Martin. Destroyer Drac, who's chasing down the DRS range. As speaking of range, free range eggs getting past the Aston Martin there. Morg Massey, terrible exit out of the final corner. He's now getting caught up by many drivers. There's a Mercedes looking down the inside as well. There's the Alpine of Woody. He's cutting through. And it's a little bit of a tap there with the Williams. And that was close with Doug, I believe. And he has just about got his way through. He's had to avoiding. Actually, he's back down to last. As Hybrid continuing this fight. As up ahead, Morg Massey as well. He's back ahead of the V-Carb, who overtook him only moments before. And so far, Woody only able to make one position in the start. as Boy Knockout. Fantastic pace already, and without the dirty air, he's able to break away and save his tyres as well. So Jar Jar Bing, is he grateful for that? He has got clean air now. And I think it's probably safer maybe to stay away from that dirty air. His pace is strong. Stevens as well, who made a position on the opening lap. Epic Frenchie following through as well. Destroyer Drac, who managed to make it back into the DRS range. Bakey, who had a great start. Wow, he started lower down. Let's have a look at the gain positions. 6 positions gained, and the biggest winner from the opening lap. And Bakey's up to P6. Great start for VCarb. That's exactly what he needs to do. After, I believe, wheel malfunctions, as I was seeing, or pedal malfunctions in the chat. He leads Tesco Mildils and Kingy, who just about clung on to the DRS range there. Salty Stevens is heading towards the Williams. He's going to get another boost of DRS down the second straight. I don't think the Williams is going to get it. Can the Ferrari put the challenge on the Williams? Battery on. He is burning. Going towards turn 4. How brave will he be? Will he pull to the inside? He absolutely does. Here comes the Ferrari down the inside. Stevens versus Bing, and he does get the move done. And that was a fantastic, covered off the counter-attack from the inside. It is a Ferrari 1-2, and that is fantastic to see. What a great start from the Scuderia. Jar Jar Bing following on, and the next fight behind is going to be Kingy, who's leading William in the DRS train for P6, as Moody picks up a 3-second penalty, as battles going on behind between Hybrid and Woody, who's desperately trying to cut through it. Ooh, off track limits, there goes William, and that will be an unnecessary 3-second, or at least a warning that he doesn't particularly want, leading to an unwanted 3-second penalty as well. See how close these guys are running together. As yellow flags at the back, and that's Woody. The man who was sat very comfortably on provisional pole, and he's got wing damage, and that is a full wing gone. And he's going to need a safety car or some big amount of pace if he wants to get back into this race. That is so unfortunate for the has-been pole sitter, but he wasn't. Oh, bit of a snap there by Moody, who I think was eyeing up a move on the VCarb up ahead. He looked like he had a good exit. He was nicely close behind, but couldn't quite get the power down early enough. As behind there's Tesco Mildils, who pulls to the inside of Bakey Gaming. Makes it look like he's going to make the move, backs out of it late. Can he eye up a move, going towards turn 4? How well he can get the power down. He got the power down better than Bakey did. DRS open for the McLaren, who's chasing down the VCarb. There's an Aston Martin behind, who I think may have got a better exit. Here comes Kingy going around the outside, and he gets the move done. I think he caught myself and the McLaren off guard there. Kingy up to P7. A great attack there by the man still sporting that bright orange helmet. That's how I saw him coming. Up ahead, Jar Jar Bing, who has lost DRS on the Ferraris, who will begin to build their gap. Has he got DRS down this straight? I don't think he did. And you can see he's burning all that battery down, trying to get back into range. He has done so, as there's Destroyer Drac having a little look down the inside of turn 16, or 12, I should say, but couldn't make the move on Epic Frenchie, as there is a 3-second penalty headed out to both Stevens and Frenchie. So 2 of the front 4 picking up an early penalty, and that's not what you want in a race that is 36 laps long. We've got a long way to go for these drivers to hold that penalty and potentially pick up even more. There goes Frenchie burning his battery. Can he look to put a challenge on the top 3? Here he comes down the inside of Jar Jar Bing. Late on the brakes, can he go? The Williams cuts very aggressively across, bit of contact, and they spun round. And that was aggressive by Jar Jar Bing, who maybe didn't see that he was axle to axle, Epic Frenchie. And he is caught spinning round, and he's into the grass. Destroyer Drac opened the door, and he has come through. Up to P3, he goes, the McLaren. As behind there's another battle for the McLaren. Oh, bit of wheel banging for Tesco and Bakey, who's forced all the way wide. And Bakey holds on. Great attack there. Very aggressive. A bit of wheel banging there. But he did what he had to do. There's William trying to find a way back past Kingy, who fought past him earlier on in this race. They are in DRS, of course, because of the battles between Bakey and Tesco. And that's allowed Epic Frenchie to break away. So that top 4 beginning to build the gaps ahead as yellow flags. That's Hybrid. We haven't seen too much for in this race. He started at the back and he spun around. Oh, there's a bit of wheel banging down. I think that was a free range. He was trying to find a way past Morg Massey. Couldn't find a way through. And he was sent almost sliding across the track. And that got really, really close. And it's great car control, to be fair, to hold on and keep it in a straight line. Down the straight they go. I'm looking at William, who will have the battery and the DRS advantage over Kingy, and he finds his way through. Could we see Viva getting through as well? Here he comes down the inside, going towards the Aston Martin. He's got to be later on the brakes, going towards turn 1. How brave will he be? Going towards the braking point, and he is ahead of the Aston Martin at the apex of the corner. Great overtake. As behind there is Doug, who is making his way past Iron Shin in the battle for P13. I'm not too sure where the points go down to in this league, but I can't imagine 13, if it is point scoring, is as many points as he wants to get out of this race. And he will continue cutting his way through the order. And it looks like Frenchie's been reeled back in. So Bakey, despite a poor qualifying, fantastic race pace. And he has found his way back into the DRS of the Alpine, who looks relatively comfortable in P4. Maybe struggles going on for him. Bakey, the only man in the top 10 to be on the hard tyres. Maybe they're coming into their own early. Maybe it is what I suspected as a 2-stop. We'll have to see later on in this race. The other hard tyres, of course, on P12 for Moody. And even lower down in the order, as there is Morg Massey getting past his teammate. So Kingy has lost 3 positions in the last lap and a half. As Tesco Mildil's the McLaren, I should say, picking up a 3-second penalty. Again, very early in this race, a 36-lap race. And 3 seconds seem to be the biggest rival of these drivers. As battery on for Baker Gaming, looking to break into the top 4. DRS wide open, but he pulled to the inside. He does. And he looks like he's going to get the move done before the corner. Great job by the VCARB driver. Behind, we've got a move going on, and that is, I believe, is the 2 Aston Martins again opting to swap positions. No, Kingy backs off at the apex of the corner. Maybe a defensive strategy for free-range eggs, who was looking to try and get back through. As you can see, Moody struggling with traction again on those hard tyres. It's really, really early on the traction, on the throttle. I don't know if that's going to be doing his rear tyres any good. He's opening turn 5 up much better than the free range exits. You couldn't quite get that exit you needed. As up ahead, we can see there's a battle going on, and that is, I believe that was Tesco Mildil and William, who backed out of that. Slowly cutting his way up the order. One car at a time, as Destroyer Jack has got back into the DRS of the Ferrari, which is Salty Stevens right now. So, exhibiting some pretty solid race pace there by the McLaren. Looks to be maybe a Piastri-inspired helmet. But he is out of the DRS. He's closing in on it, but just about out of it. His Iron Shin showing up yellow flags. Maybe a spin in there at the back for the VCARB. And Big Frenchie, battery on. He knows that the McLaren is coming. He has not got the benefit of the rear wing open. However, the McLaren behind does. And will be closing in, but won't be close enough to make an attacking move on this lap. Behind, however, Kingy might be able to on his teammate. We can see the 2 Aston Martins racing close together. It's turn 1. And they do swap positions. Can free-range eggs put on an attack on the back Aston Martin, which is now Morg Massey? He can't. Will he get a run, though, at turn 4, which is now a connected DRS? As again, slipped by Moody. Really struggling at turn 3 is Moody. Cannot get the power down. Is that a battery issue? Is that maybe turning the battery on a little bit too early? Or is that just being a little bit too optimistic on the throttle? As a slide there by free-range eggs. Here comes the Sauber down the inside. Cuts the corner. And does get the move done. Was that an overtake off track? And will he give the position back? He won't. The question is, will the stewards have a look at overtaking off track there? He did use off-track surface in order to make that overtake. But he has got it done. And he's up to P11. And now 1 position off the top 10. Everyone gets points. Well, that's big. It's important. But still, nevertheless, every overtake counts, as William maybe having a little sneaky look at a Tesco Mildil, as there's Moody getting past Morg Massey there. Pace has been strong by the Sauber, but he's been running his rear tyres quite heavy. But no DRS for the McLaren, and that might cause an overtake here. We're going to have to see some big defence from Tesco, who won't get the benefit from the rear wing being opened. Here comes the Sauber. McLaren burning to try and stay ahead, going towards the apex. Here comes William down the inside, going towards turn 1. Heavy on the brakes, and he does get the move done. Will he be able to go defensive for a counter-attack going through turn 3? And I think he does. William breaking into the top 6. And a battery back on for the McLaren, who's not going to get the benefit of DRS, but he is going to look for a counter-attack in the slipstream. Can he look for a dive going towards turn 4? He's not quite close enough. And you might have half been looking at his rear mirrors there, because Viva was not too far behind. See William only 3/10 out the DRS for this battle for P4. Destroyer Drag can't quite get in that range of Salty Stevens up at the front. I've been keeping an eye on it, but he's not quite managed to do it. As Morg Massey beginning to drop back, so definitely struggles on the Aston Martin in P10 for the wear of the tyres. And he might be forced to look at a one-stop if his pace continues, as Iron Shin picks up his first penalty. I believe it's a 3-second penalty for the man in 15th. Let's have a little check, and it is. So a broad range of 3-second penalties across the grid we're seeing. I'm curious to watch this man. UFRL William, who I don't think has cut through the detection point with DRS. And we'll see. No, by the fact he's burning his battery, I assume no, and he hasn't. That's going to be a big advantage for Epic Frenchie. He's going to try and look to break away from the raging Sauber, who's been cutting through the pack earlier. Here he comes on an attack on Bakey Gaming, pulls to the inside, heading towards the corner, gets the job done, cuts him across. That was a very controlled overtake there by the Alpine, who retakes P4, where he was previously in this race. And they'll get another boost of DRS behind, allowing William to maybe make a gain on the it is a V-carb, sorry, who does not have DRS. As behind Kingy getting past Tesco Mildil and joining in this fight for P4. This is looking like a very interesting fight as William there picking up a 3-second penalty. The second person in this little group, or third person I should say, who now has a penalty hanging over their head. And he's not quite in DRS range either. So the Sauber is going to need a really solid middle and final sector to secure himself in that range. The detection point is during that stadium section, right after turn 14. So he's going to need a good middle sector, and that he has absolutely done. And he's now in the range of DRS for Bakey Gaming. Destroyer Jack beginning to close in again, looking for another push. And no one opting to pit yet. Well, we've had Doug, who's opted to pit. We have actually had quite a few drivers who opted to pit. And into the pits, as I say that, is Viva. It's the first man in the top 10, I believe, who's opted to pit. We've got Free Range Eggs, who came in just a lap previously, as Morg Massey picks up a 3-second penalty as he comes into the pits. Where will Free Range Eggs come out compared to Viva, who I believe he was quite close to earlier in the race? Battery on. Not the longest pit lane in the world, but he does absolutely pass, I believe. It's going to be close. And he doesn't. He is behind the Mercedes on the hard tyres. Are these hard tyres they can try and take to the end of the race? We've still got 26 laps left to go. Is that possible on the one set of hard tyres? It's going to be difficult as here comes Woody down the inside. Oh, of Doug. Very close going towards the apex of turn 1. Look for a counter-attack, maybe going through turn 3. He can't quite do it. DRS will be open once again for the Alpine. We're going to go on board. Is he close enough to make another attack on Doug? Much older tyres, and he maybe could have made a dive. He was brave, but he opted not to. Oh, that's Epic Frenchie, who's gone around all the S's. And was that contact? Was that a mistake on his own? I missed it. But he's rejoined the circuit in P8, and it's been a bad day to be an Alpine fan here in UFRL. As he rejoins in P8, and that's not ideal whatsoever for Frenchie. As into the pits comes the Ferrari Salty Stevens, who is also stropping on the hard compounded tyres. Morg Massey's gone on for the mediums. We're going to have a quick check, actually, because I am curious. Morg Massey has absolutely done a medium. So he's going to be looking to do a 3-stop. Potentially taking the hards to the end after these tyres die off. Looking at 11 laps from these drivers so far on the mediums. I was watching Shazam up into P7. So 11 lap on the medium. So it might be a soft stint, actually, at the end of the race for Morg Massey. As there's Bakey Gaming with DRS open, gets his way past William. So it might have been contact, actually, with Bakey Gaming and Epic Frenchie, because he was a couple cars ahead of William earlier in this race. As there's Scotty Stevens, tyres lit up early. You'd think that the tyres would be freezing cold at this stage, but he's making early moves on 11 lap younger tyres up against Moody, and he's now going to be up against Shazam, who's on 11 lap mediums. So the man with equal lowest grip on the track, presumably, up against the man with one of the most amount of grip on the track. And you can see how much he's gaining through the S's. He's now having to lift off to stay behind. And this is a move he needs to get done pretty quickly. Round the outside of the Haas he goes. Shazam desperately trying to stay will to will, I think. But that's not a fight for him. As will we see some of these medium runners come in. And will we see the Ferrari coming in? We won't. Opts to stay out. And drivers looking to lengthen this first stint. As into the pits comes Tesco Mildil. And Shazam opts not to. But however, Moody does, though. It's the first man who started the race on the hard tyres. Is coming in his window. Quite an early window. And presumably now he'll take 2 mediums to the end of the race. which is a bit of a stretch. Comes into the pits. He's going to come out, I believe, down in P17. But he will get clean air, I believe, which is always what you want. Well, cleanish air. Not the cleanest of air. Baker Gaming leading the battle for P3 now. Upgraded from the battle of P4. You can see a lovely aerial shot there of the S section around Mexico. DRS open for the bright green Sauber. Heading towards the V-Carb, who I imagine will be extending a stint a little bit longer than William might. As into the pits comes our race leader. There's Boy Knockout, Boy Knockout who comes in. Destroyer Drac opting to come in as well, as Epic Frenchie picks up another 3-second penalty. And, yep, William opting to stay out. So Baker Gaming will take the lead of the race. Question is, where will Boy Knockout come out compared to his teammate? And it will be a swap of the Ferrari drivers. So Salty Stevens does work his way through. It's going to be a Ferrari 4-5. And a big amount of advantage lost there by the undercut for the Ferraris, who do swap positions through pit stops. The question is, can they take these tyres to the end of the race? That might be what Boy Knockout is looking to do. Salty Stevens maybe as well. 2 lap older tyres than his teammate. So it's going to be a bit of a push. As Destroyer Drac, who has dropped behind Free Range Eggs now. He's got a bit of a gap and a lot of cars to work through if he wants to attack the Ferraris, who are chasing down a 1-2 finish as it stands. Oh, Shazam is reserving from division from tier 3, I'm hearing. So pressure is on potentially for the Haas driver. Currently sat in P6 and yet to pit. So extending that first stint, which I think is a very viable strategy. We'll have to see how much time it loses him and how much time he'll be able to gain back with the younger tyres. As Destroyer Drac getting held up, appears to be being held up by Free Range Eggs. And the Dirty Air is doing him absolutely no help. Going defensive there, going toward the stadium section. Into the pits comes William. The Sauber's done 14 laps on the yellow-rimmed medium tyres. There's yellow flags at the back, and that's Iron Shin, who does seem to be still moving, so no safety car procedures taken. Into the pits comes, that's Shazam, there we go. Into the pits comes the Haas driver. Destroyer Drac needs to make this move quick. He's got an opportunity where Free Range Eggs has not got DRS, but he has got the straight line speed. Here comes Destroyer Drac. Can he make a big dive going towards turn 1? And he backs out. The Indian driver opting against making the risky move. However, yeah, let's get a second to try. Going towards turn 4, connected DRS straight. He's got the rear wing open once again. No battery on the Red Bull. And Destroyer Drac looking to the outside, going towards turn 4. Can he make the move around the outside? He goes, and he does make the move stick. The Aston Martin going defensive as well on the Alpine behind. Round the outside goes Epic Frenchie. He's going to be will-to-will going towards turn 6. Pushed all the way wide by the Aston Martin. Can he get the run? He's pushed all the way off track. Great defense there by Morg Massey. But here comes Epic Frenchie down the inside towards turn 7. And he does make the move stick. Great move there by the Alpine driver. And incredible perseverance. Fought his way through. And that was a great bit of racing there for P8. You can see behind, the Alpine drama is not done. UFRL Woody is now in the wing mirrors of Morg Massey, who at this stage should have quicker tyres, but maybe doesn't. As up ahead, there goes Salty Stevens getting past the V-Carb. Here comes the other Ferrari of Boy Knockout, and he might have a go at his teammate here. And he wasn't too far away. As it is, reignited. Ferrari 1-2 up at the front. Baker Gaming, who's yet to pit on those hard tyres. Maybe looking for a one-stop as well. He'll look to go to the medium compound for his second stint. F1 Viva, who shot up the order. He's done a great race so far. Who started closer to the end of the grid. Is now up at the front. P4 so far for the Mercedes, being chased down by the McLaren of Destroyer Drac, who's absolutely looking at a podium finish. Free Range Eggs is still in this DRS strain, as well as Epic Frenchie, who had that spin, but is still absolutely in the fight, looking for a move on the Red Bull. Switches from the outside, looks for the inside. Can he look for a dive going towards turn 6? And I think he had a little look, but he opted against a risky move. Is he close enough for a move at turn 7? He's not, he's going to stay behind. And Free Range Eggs has not got DRS, and that's going to prove absolutely critical in his race up against the Alpine behind. And he may need to wait until the long run towards turn 1 to make this move. Unless he can do it here. Right in the gearbox. A bit of contact between the Alpine and the Red Bull. I think they might have given him a track limit warning. And a very unnecessary one at that behind as well. But mistakes there by the Alpine. And he's lost the position to Doug. That's Woody. Struggling for position as Boy Knockout overtaking his teammate. Takes the lead of the race up at the front. And Salty Stevens is going to have an issue because he has got that 3-second penalty. DRS given to Doug. And unfortunately not for Woody, who didn't go through who went through the detection point before the spin. Will he be under pressure by Tesco? Not quite. But I have a feeling Tesco might have a little go going towards turn 4. Let's have a look. We might see a double move for McLaren. Destroyer Jack getting past Viva up at the front there. As, pushed off track there a little bit by Tesco. And he's had to lift off there, I think, to see the position because he overtook off track. So a little bit unfortunate. Starting to understeer there for Tesco in the gearbox. The guys ahead. As Viva, who's just been overtaken there by Destroyer Drac. If he can stay in the DRS, maybe leave a bit more of a gap just so we can keep those tyres alive, not lose the front grip too early. As Tesco Mildale picks up another 3-second penalty. Aviva could be looking for an incredible race. Actually, I'm curious. 10 positions gained, I was right. Yeah, so a massive amount of gain for the Mercedes driver. This is huge for his race. Done a fantastic job. As into the pits there, finally goes Baker Gaming. He's got a long way to go on this final stint. Here comes Viva. Can he look for an attacking move on the McLaren? He's not quite close enough. We look further back in the order. We've got Morg Massey, who I think has one more stop to go. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to finish the race on these tyres. So that's going to be potentially quite frustrating for the current lead Aston Martin, as his teammate has just recently pit the last 2 laps. He's onto the hard tyres. And Morg Massey is going to come out, I believe, down with his teammate in P13. Not ideal. Maybe eyeing up a move for against Free Range Eggs, who's been struggling actually at turn 5 this race. Really struggling to get the power down at the exit at turn 5, and it's just leaving him the door wide open for a dive. We saw it with Epic Frenchie just earlier in the race. And maybe potentially we'll see it with Morg Massey now. We'll see next lap. There's Jar Jar Bing, who started right at the front of the grid. And unfortunately, through how the race has panned out, is sat in P10 with tyres that should be able to take him to the end of the race. It'll be a bit of a stretch, but of course it will be. As off the track he goes, and I hope that wasn't an unnecessary track limit warning. And was he able to nab DRS? I think he was. I think I'll be hoping that Tesco Mildale wasn't able to, so he can close in. Let's find out. That's DRS over the Williams. No DRS, crucially, for the McLaren. So an opportunity maybe for Jar Jar Bing to close up on the papaya-coloured car up ahead. As the two Sauber swapping positions. Moody and William. Up ahead, F1 Viva doing a great job to hold on to the DRS of Destroy Drac. Currently fastest lap is given to Boy Knockout with a 18.5. Clear of everyone else. The only man even remotely close is Tesco Mildale with an 18.9. So a mega lap. And I imagine that was probably his out lap or in lap. Where he's had to give the tyres a bit of a push. Moody picking up another 3-second penalty. Was that his first? It was absolutely not his first. 9 seconds hanging over the head of the Sauber driver. And that's going to demote him quite aggressively down the grid. You can see with the grid being so close together as well, you really do not want a 3-second penalty in this stage in the race. It's about being consistent now. If you're on a 9-second now, just be consistent. No need to overdrive the car. As the yellow flags at the back, and that's Iron Shin again. Another spin for the V-Carb, a day to forget. Certainly an inaugural race to forget. As Viva, who got a good exit there at turn 3. Can he look to challenge the cars ahead? As Tesco Mildale there making the move on Woody. On the much younger hard tyres. Woody struggling, and he will have to pit again, unfortunately. Another man who I assume will be looking to forget a day like this. But this looks to be the battle for the podium. It's going to be a Ferrari 1-2 unless Stevens can close in. I imagine the positions are fairly set. Boy Knockout is lapping really quickly. But F1 Viva, who in my opinion so far has been driver of the day, started closer to the back of the grid, has torpedoed up it. He's had a fantastic drive so far. Now his job is to stay in DRS, not overwork the tyres, because 3 laps difference doesn't sound like much, but it is. And look to try and mount a challenge to destroy a Drac who has broken out of DRS. I mean, that might do Viva's tyres a bit of a good. As Free Range Eggs picking up a 3-second penalty. I don't think he was the only one there. He's leading Morg Massey, who, like I said, will probably need to pit again for another set of medium tyres. Well, I believe he's done medium so far, so I think it will be hard. So he'll get pushed down the order. However, he will be on much younger tyres, so we'll see how that works out for him. It's his Jar Jar Bing. Having a little look down the inside of Woody. Couldn't quite get it done. Woody, another driver who will need to pit again. So I think if Alpine are smart, they'll try and make an undercut work, because Woody's pace looks strong, but they don't need to make the job a little harder for themselves to chase down Morg Massey. If they can close down that 2 seconds through a pit stop, I think that's probably ideal for the Alpine driver. So I imagine they'll be looking at what Morg Massey's doing. Yellow flags, and again that's Iron Shin, who's dropped it on the entry to the pit lane and struggling to rejoin the track. Struggling to find reverse gear, it seems. And that's a VSC. And I have a feeling that was caused on purpose, because he's now moving absolutely fine after the VSC got called out. And is this an opportunity for Morg Massey to come in? Morg Massey and Woody, I imagine, will come into the pits at this lap. Let's have a look. Is anyone coming in? They are. So Epic Frenchie opting to come in. Only 9-lap-old tyres. He's opted to come in. Tesco Mildo comes in as well. So, wow, everyone's coming in. And I imagine, hope they don't speed, as William stays out. Comfortable on the tyres he's on. I'm not surprised that Morg Massey and Woody have come in as well. Will Kingy up to stay out, and he is coming in as well. So everyone, maybe struggling with the wear, wanting new tyres. I don't know if the front boys are going to get the option. So the race as the VSC is out. Lap 22. Boy Knockout leads us with a comfortable 5-second gap. He's done an unbelievable job this race. Salty Stevens behind. Destroyer Track versus Viva will be the battle for the podium as it stands. Williams got a bit of a gap, but he needs to keep those tyres alive, because the rest of the drivers look to have made a pit stop. And I think that was Woody who picked up a drive-through penalty. And he wasn't the only one. Jar Jar Bing as well. So the Williams and the Alpine picking up the biggest penalty you can get straight in the race. And that is not what they want at all. Up ahead, how was Viva's restart to the race? It looked pretty strong. Right on the gearbox of Drac, he's got the battery. Everyone regenning their battery packs. Could the Mercedes mount a challenge down the straight? Ooh, a little bit squirmy on the exit at turn 16. And here he goes, battery on. He's got a bit of a range to go. The DRS is open. I think Destroyer Track sees him coming. And he's not going to be able to mount a challenge, I don't think, going towards turn 1. Will he get a go going towards turn 4? We'll find out. Of course, Viva does have the worst of the 2 tyres. In fact, he has the worst tyres on track now in terms of quality. Battery back on for the McLaren, who knows the pressure is going to be coming from the Mercedes. And he can't quite get close enough. It's going to be a waiting game for him. There is Epic Frenchie behind Becky Gaming, who's done a fantastic job, actually. I think if he'd stayed out a little longer on those hard tyres, he could be fighting for the podium. But he didn't know the VSC was coming. Here comes Frenchie. Battery on with the younger tyres. Could he look for a challenge going towards turn 4? Go from the inside to the outside. That was aggressive. Pushed onto the grass. Heavy braking, and he's gone deep. And I think that's a counter-attack there from Becky. And that was very close racing. And I think that was a bit of a lapse of judgment from the Alpine, who looked to go to the inside, switch to the outside, and there wasn't much of a gap there to go to. And Becky holds on. And this is going to be a big fight for P6. Let's have a look at Williams' penalty. It's only a 3-second penalty, but they have got the younger tyres. So if they can close in, it could be a battle for P5. We'll find out very, very soon enough if they begin to close in. But right now, I'm enjoying the fight. Epic Frenchie looking keen to make the move on Becky, despite having that penalty. He feels maybe he can gap the V-carb I think with the age of his tyres, I think that's very, very plausible. Going through turn 16, what will his exit be? And it's so crucial he gets it right. He's right on the gearbox of the V-Carb, and I think we're going to see an overtake here. Battery on with the DRS. The Alpine finds his way through. And remember, he's going to get double DRS. It's going to be a combined DRS straight. So he's going to get DRS again on the exit at turn 3. And that's going to help him out, I think. And I think Bakey might be in trouble. He might lose DRS because of it. Behind, that's Moody getting past Shazam on those younger medium tyres. I don't think Shazam's tyres will be able to do much against these guys. So if you can just stay in the DRS, I think that'll do him fine. Has Jar Jar being served his drive-through? We haven't. So Shazam could be looking at a P6 finish here. Jar Jar being looking for a move around the outside, and he does get it done on this Haas. He's got 3 laps to serve that drive-through penalty. Looks like Woody served his already. And he's down, unfortunately, at P16. But the Williams yet to serve his. Up ahead, Tesco Mildale closing in on the back of Free Range Eggs, who's been running a solid race. Here he comes, the McLaren looking down the inside of turn 12. That would have been an aggressive move. He opts out of it. He looks to wait for the longer straight just coming up. He needs to nail this exit. He hasn't quite done it. He's lost a bit of time through that stadium section. You can see how the importance of dirty air and how it's just ruined his exit out of that corner. Here we go. 6/10, 7/10 is the gap between the McLaren and the Red Bull. And I think it's important he gets the move done now before the Red Bull gets DRS from Baker, who I imagine they'll catch up to with the younger tyres. Here comes the McLaren. Can he get the move done? He's got no battery left. Shows a little bit of an aggressive manner looking down the inside of turn 1, but couldn't get the move done. As that is, and that is a V-Carb, and I believe that wasn't Bakey, was it? No, it wasn't. It was Iron Shin who's struggling, continues struggles in this race. As Boy Knockout picks up his first penalty of the race. Tesco Mildale nowhere near close enough, and the front 2 do have a 3-second penalty. Is there a chance the Destroyer track can close up? Well, he's got about 2.5 seconds to close in if he wants to claim P2. So we'll see how that works out for the end of the race. He's got younger tyres than Salty Stevens. So we'll see how that works out for him. There looks to be gaps showing themselves in between the drivers now a little bit more. As is the pits comes Salty Stevens. Wow! So the Ferrari may be struggling on tyre wear, and he's come in. I think Ferrari have got this pit stop right, that if he wanted to pit, he's opted to pit when he will get clean air on the exit. He's opted for the medium tyres for the last 10 laps of the race. Is there a chance we see both Ferraris come in, is the question. So Salty Stevens opting to pit now, looking maybe for the undercut on his teammate if both Ferraris are looking to go in. As behind there's Epic Frenchie finding his way past William, and behind there's Free Range Eggs. And as I suspected, looks like the McLaren's waited too long and he's given DRS from Bakey. It looks like Tesco Mildale's looking down the inside. He's got aggressive there by the V-Carb, who holds position. And like I said, as I suspected, Free Range Eggs was able to catch Bakey before Tesco Mildales was able to make the overtake. He's now going to get DRS, and this is so crucial. He makes his overtake stick, because otherwise the Red Bull will run away. Here comes the McLaren down the inside, and he gets the move done towards turn 4. And that was a really important overtake, and he's done it quite nicely. As behind, there's Morg Massey getting the move done on Shazam, whose tyres won't be in the best state. Let's look to the front, actually. I'm curious. So Boy Knockout opting to stay out. Destroyer Drac we'll find out as well. And also F1 Viva as well. I'm curious. The oldest tyres are the now front 3. And he is coming in. So I'm maybe hoping that McLaren and maybe even Ferrari, but presumably McLaren, are looking to pit Destroyer Drac again. Because if he does, that means he'll get the undercut and maybe close in a bit that time he lost. So Salty Stevens will now retake P3. And Viva, I believe, will come out, if he's hoping, in P6. Where is Free Range Eggs going to be? Down the straight goes the Red Bull. I think he's going to get him, and he will. So will the McLaren. So maybe will the V-Carb. Where's Bakey Gaming? It will be close as he pulls to the inside. Maybe looking to get some slipstream from the slow-moving car. And he won't be quite close enough. So Viva comes out in P8. And he's got a bit of a gap to the guys ahead, but he has got the fresher tyres. I think that 5-lap offset will do him a world of good. As in is the pits, and our first retirement of the evening on lap 27 comes from Iron Shin. The cause of the earlier VSC. And it's just been bad. Like, it's just gone from worse to even worse for the V-Carb. Viva is in the range DRS of the two ahead. And if he wants to make this this strategy count, he's going to have to be quick. And ideally, he cuts through up to P4, but it's going to be a big ask. He's got a lot of overtaking to do. It's going to be a busy final few laps for him. Will Destroyer Jack up to come into the pits, and he doesn't. So the McLaren taking his chances for a P2 if he can match the lap times of Stotty Stevens, or just at least hold him off. Because Stotty Stevens is going to be absolutely rapid on those medium tyres. That was all a slow stadium section there for Tesco. Is there a chance, as he's out of DRS as well, is there a chance that Viva can get the exit? Oh, bit of a snap there by the McLaren, and that's not going to do him any good. Battery on for the Mercedes. There should be a fairly simple overtaking. It absolutely is. Yellow flags at the back there. I think that is the slow-moving Iron Shin coming out the pits. And that is 1 to the tally for Viva, who still has 1, 2, 3. Well, 3 left to go if he wants to get that P4 back. And a lot of time left to get. About 10 seconds he needs to gain. Can he do it? Free range exits up ahead. He's looking for an early move. Looking down the inside of turn 4. But he opts against it. I think it's maximum recharge for this lap then. And make this move as soon as possible. You can see the difference in the 6-lap offset. The Mercedes has got so much more grip. Going through these slow corners. And the dirty air is going to be killing him here through this middle sector. If I was him, I'd look for the move before turn 12. I know it's risky, but he needs to get it done. DRS open, he's up to against it. It's behind, I believe is that the other V-Carb? And it is. And that's Bakey Gaming, and it is a terrible day to be a V-Carb fan. As one driver's DNF, the other one, I think, might get caught by Morg Massey. And he's opted against it. Bakey Gaming was running a really, really solid race. The strategies have been all over the place. I can't say he's got it right. Here comes Viva, who got a better exit out of turn 16. Gets the move done on free range eggs, and he gets up to P6. He's got about 10 seconds to gain on Epic Frenchie, and free range egg sitting behind him for that extra lap did not do him any good. He needs to absolutely nail these last 8 laps of the race if he wants to close in. Bakey Gaming opting for the soft tyres. I think his tyres are done. He's going to call it a day. Go for the fastest lap and just take it home. It's really unfortunate to see. Destroyer Jack. The gap between him and Salty Stevens was 10 seconds. It's down to 7. I don't think the Destroyer Jack's going to have a good time watching that time go down. I think we're going to see a fight for P2 by the end of this race. Viva's got 1.7 to the Sauber up ahead. And he'll be looking to close in and make, once again, quite a swift move. He's 5 tenths, I should say. 5 tenths up on his delta. So he's setting personal best after personal best. Those tyres are doing him a world of good. And he needs to get the move done now. Nail that exit. And battery on early. Down the straight he goes. Will he bother burning? I don't think he thinks that the Mercedes is part of his fight. Here comes Viva, pulls to the inside. And he moves up to P5. And he's putting it on an absolute show. Next up on the kill list will be Epic Frenchie. Who's 2 seconds up the road. And then he's reignited that P4 already. Is there a chance he can close down even Destroyer Drac on those slower tyres? Maybe. He's got a long way to go for it, but we'll have to see how Destroyer Drac does with the tyre wear. Behind there is Kingy. Getting around the outside of turn 1 on Shazam, who hugs that inside line, cuts off turn 2. Great defense. I think that's going to look like open the door for Woody. Getting on board of the Alpine. Oh, struggled to get the power down. A little bit of a snap. Gaston Martin gets the DRS, gets past Shazam. Will Woody look for a dive? He doesn't. He backs out. And that's lucky for Kingy, who gets through. And he hasn't got penalties either, so that's gonna help him out in this fight. Woody picks up another 3-second penalty, as there is F1 Viva closing in on the Alpine. DRS open. I think it should be another fairly simple move. Down the straight he goes, and F1 Viva makes the 2-stop work, and he is up to P4. Is there any chance he closes down the guys ahead? Maybe. We'll have to see. He's got a long way to go But if you can bring home the P4, I think that's a really good accomplishment from where he started. And I want to remind you again, everybody, 11 positions gained. He's done that all out of merit. It's been a really strong showing there by the Mercedes. 3.9 seconds is the gap between P2 and P3. Watching it go down all the while, as there is defense shown by Shazam. Holding that inside line. Can Woody look for a counter-attack? Battery on for the Alpine. And there's DRS for Shazam as well. But will he have the battery advantage? I don't think he does. As around the outside goes the Alpine. Woody's up to P12. And if he wants to be in the race with Kingy, he needs to sort out those penalties because he has got the disadvantage. Just to put these on screen. He's got a 3-second penalty. That's not going to do him any good. As it stands, Boy Knockout will win the race. Destroyer Drac has the advantage. No penalties to his name. I think that's going to help him out. Salty Stevens as well should take home the P3 with Viva at P4. Nice job without the penalties. Only 4 drivers able to keep it clean. As up ahead, there's Moody getting past Tesco Mildil. I'm watching this fight though. And it looks like Woody trying to close into the back of Kingy. Gonna have DRS, but doesn't have the advantage though. Down to 9% on the battery. Not much for him or the Aston Martin, so he needs to look to recharge on this lap and maybe attack for next lap. However, he has got that 3-second penalty hanging over his head, which is not going to help him out whatsoever. 2 seconds is the gap between Salty Stevens and Destroyer Drac. Oh, was that great exit there by Woody. And a mistake, I missed it. I was looking at the timing board. And Kingy is overtaken by Woody. Now is there a chance that the Alpine can break that 3-second gap? It's going to be a hard ask. And he is already putting pressure on the DRS range. Look at that. Woody already breaks out the DRS of Kingy. Is it possible he brings home the P11? I think it might be. After a disqualification in qualifying and a drive-through penalty, I would take a P11. Kingy is just about within the range. He's a good final sector. He cannot make a mistake. And he has stayed within the range. That's crucial. As that's Bakey Gaming. Oh, so both V-Carbs struggling. After such promise from Bakey Gaming in the early stages of this race, he was up in P4, fighting for the podium. I think it's going to be a day to forget for VCarb. I'm seeing in chat that Red Bull and Ferrari seem to be the two that are talked about for constructors. And if that is overall constructors you're talking about, then I think that this may be a golden division for Ferrari. Because they are absolutely flying. Salty Stevens has gained and caught the back in Destroyer Drac. All Drac needs to do is stay within 3 seconds. And the job is complete. Let's have a look to the front. They've not been given too much screen time. You can see the amount of grip Drac has compared to the Ferrari is nothing. And there goes the Ferrari, who, I will remind you, gets DRS on both this straight and the next one. So Drac needs to use that battery to good advantage and stay within the 3 seconds. If I was him, I would fight this as much as you can. Oh, a little bit deep into turn 1. It's not what you want. Needs to be really cautious on the dirty air. Again, rear wing open for the Ferrari. And if he breaks out of DRS, which I think he might do, I think Destroyer Drac will struggle to hold within the 3 second gap. He needs to absolutely nail this lap. As Morgmassi gets past Tesco Mildil going towards turn 1. And takes P9. And that will be P9 on track because he has the same penalty. In fact, he'll actually gain on Moody, so he'll improve up to P8. Dark getting past Shazam going towards turn 1 as well. As yeah, you can see how much slower Drac is. 1.4 is the gap, and I have a feeling that Salty Stevens might be quick enough here to break that 3 second gap, and it might be a Ferrari 1-2. We'll have to see. We've only got this lap and 1 more to go. Well, as they hit the flag, 2 more to go, of course. But an interesting fight going on behind. As Kingy leading Doug, as well as Shazam, who I've been told is from the division below, and reserving upwards. which is always a hard ask. I think that you feel the pressure, that you can compete with the guys who are divided or tiered a whole step ahead of you. But I will say he's done a pretty admirable job, I'd say. 3-second penalty, so he's beaten a lot of the drivers on that already. He will gain on Doug if he's able to stay within 3 seconds of him. And he'll bring home a pretty solid P13. And I'll be honest, it might not be the best day in the world for Haas, but I think they'll be pretty happy with how Shazam has brought out a result. Destroyer Drac, 2 seconds is now the gap. And it is increasing every corner. Can he stay within it? 7/10. That is all he's got between him bringing home a silver trophy and a bronze one. As Moody getting past. Oh, and there's a mistake there. Again, free range egg struggling with turn 5. We've seen this across the evening. Is there a chance that Morg Massey can put the pressure on? And he might want to do that because he got the same amount of penalty. So Morg Massey might get up to P7 here. If he gets past free range eggs, he'll get Moody off penalties. As we enter the final lap of the race. Destroyer Drac has 8/10 between him and a P2. As behind that's Kingy, who is looking in his mirrors, and Doug is right on his tail, but with those penalties it's going to cause a loss of position. Good Doug look for it. We haven't seen too many moves since turn 12, and we won't see one yet. As there's Morg Massey, who gets past free range eggs. That's exactly what he needed to do. However, will he get the DRS? Did he make the move too early? He didn't. He got it absolutely spot on. And free range eggs is going to be left in the dust. Up ahead, we're going to watch the front fight. Boy Knockout, who's not got too much screen time. I'm more interested in this one. And it looks like Salty Stevens is beginning to struggle. The gap is beginning to slow down. And I think it's staying pretty stable at 2.4 seconds. Destroyer Drag might have done just enough. But we're going to look to the front. The man who brought home an unbelievable pole position. A 15.7. And he's led almost every lap of the race. Got the strategy absolutely nailed on. Even with the struggles of the VSC and his teammate right on his tail. It's going to be a win. It's going to be a win in incredible fashion. A dominating fashion by Boy Knockout. Who brings home the Mexican Grand Prix win. And it is a Ferrari 1-2 on track. Will it stay that way? It's 2.7 seconds. He doesn't want it to be 3. Here comes Salty Stevens. Comes around the final corner. It's only praying now. Did Destroyer Drac get the exit he needed? It's going to be right to the line. And he just about gets it. Destroyer Drac takes home P2 by only 0.04 of a second. F1 Viva, who started down the back of the grid, finds his way all the way up to P4. An incredible and very admirable job up to P4. It looks like William, the champion, takes home P5 for the Sauber. Epic Frenchie only good enough for P6 after the mistake in the race. It looks like Morg Massey takes home P7. Moody in P8 because of the penalties. Free range eggs followed by Tesco Meal Deal. It is 2 cars in the top 10 for McLaren. But not anymore. Woody takes it with the penalties. Tesco Meal Deal's dropped down to P12. Which is unfortunate for him. Shazam brings home a P13, not too bad whatsoever. Followed by the 2 Williams of Doug and, unfortunately, Jar Jar Bing, who had a really good race. And it just unfolded ahead of him. Hybrid, who had quite a quiet one. Followed by Bakey Gaming, who was up there fighting for the podium. And it all just unravelled. And unfortunately for the V-Carb, he will have to settle down in P17. And I think V-Carb have a bit of work to do in this division. Oh, congratulations to everybody who participated this evening. What a Mexican Grand Prix. As chaotic and as many overtakes as we expect from this track. But a win in incredible fashion and exactly how he wanted from the Ferrari, who bring home 1 and 3, double podium. And I think in round 1, looking at overall Constructors' Championship, looking at the Constructors in this division as well, that's exactly what they want. And it's made a good precedent. So race winner, fastest lap driver of the day, and most overtakes shown on your screen. If you're talking about me, I think my driver of the day has to go to F1 Viva, who put on a show for us and cut up through the order from P15 all the way up to P4. So an incredible job. There is your finishing order. I'll show it all on screen without the penalties. I'll wait for them to go. There we go. Unfortunately, V-Carb are the losers of the weekend, but Ferrari, the well and truly winners. Just marginally losing out on the 1-2, which might come back to bite them later on in the season, but we'll have to find out. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody, for giving me this opportunity. My first time, even in UFRL at all. But I was subbed in to commentate last minute, and I can't let my boy Drac down. And so thank you very much, everybody, for giving me this opportunity. I enjoyed it, and maybe I'll get the opportunity to jump back in again. Have a lovely rest of your evening, everybody, and I will see you next time.